72 hours. That is how long it has been since Spirit Airlines officially died. 72 hours since the last yellow Spirit jet touched down. 72 hours of canceled flights, stranded families, and working Americans watching their cheapest travel option vanish overnight. And today, the Trump administration's $500 million rescue deal is officially dead. Now here is the question nobody on cable news is asking. Why did Spirit Airlines collapse even after the White House tried to save it? I am going to answer that question in the next 12 minutes. And I promise you, the real story will completely change how you see what's happening to the American middle class right now. The mainstream media is covering this as three separate stories. The first, Spirit was a failing company with bad management and too much debt. They filed bankruptcy twice. It was only a matter of time. The second, Trump refused to hand over $500 million taxpayer dollars to a failing airline. No more bailouts for corporate losers. The third, higher jet fuel prices caused by the Iran conflict delivered the final blow. Three separate stories. Here is what the media is getting completely wrong. These are not three separate stories. They are one story. And that one story is about the quiet pain hitting working families, small businesses, and everyday travelers, while Washington argues politics. So what really happened inside those bailout talks? Spirit's leadership came to the Trump administration with a desperate proposal, a $500 million lifeline in exchange for the government taking a massive ownership stake. The White House went back and forth. Trump himself pushed hard to find a way to keep those planes flying. But in the end, the numbers didn't add up. The deal collapsed. Spirit had no choice but to begin an orderly wind-down on May 2nd. All flights canceled, customer service gone. Thousands of Americans suddenly out of work. Now let's talk about what this really means for you. First, the jobs. Spirit employed nearly 17,000 hardworking Americans. Pilots, flight attendants, mechanics, baggage handlers, and customer service teams. These weren't Wall Street executives. These were middle-class families in places like Detroit, Orlando, Las Vegas, Dallas, and dozens of smaller cities. Many of them are now updating resumes and wondering how they'll make next month's mortgage. Second, your wallet. Spirit wasn't just another airline. It was the airline that forced everyone else to keep prices low. They built their entire model on ultra-cheap fares. No frills. Pay for everything extra. But those rock-bottom base prices kept American families moving, visiting grandparents, taking kids to Disney, small business owners closing deals in person. Without Spirit putting pressure on the industry, ticket prices across the board are going to climb, especially on domestic routes that millions of regular people fly. Third, the bigger economic picture. This is the first major U.S. airline to completely shut down in 25 years. Airports lose revenue. Hotels lose guests. Rental car companies lose business. Tourism in Florida, Nevada, and Texas takes a hit. And all of this is happening while jet fuel prices have doubled because of the situation overseas. The middle class is caught in the crossfire again. Here is the part that will shock you. While politicians argue about whether Trump should have done more, the real reason Spirit couldn't be saved runs deeper than one company. Decades of consolidation in the airline industry left us with fewer real competitors. Mergers were approved. Low-cost carriers got squeezed. And when fuel prices spiked, the weakest player, the one most Americans actually used for cheap travel, was the first to break. The Trump team looked at the deal and said the risk to taxpayers was too high. They didn't want to own a failing airline long-term. Critics on the other side say saving 17,000 jobs and preserving competition was worth the temporary help. Both sides make points. But while they argue, American families are the ones paying higher fares and watching their travel dreams get more expensive. Now you're probably asking, what happens next? Watch the other airlines in the coming weeks. JetBlue, Frontier, Southwest, and the big three are already picking up some of Spirit's routes, but they won't match those ultra-low prices. Watch summer ticket prices for your own trips. Watch whether stranded passengers get fare refunds or get stuck fighting for their money. Watch whether this becomes a political football heading into the midterms, one side screaming Trump killed Spirit, The other side saying no more socialist bailouts. But the real story isn't left versus right. The real story is that the American middle class is losing another tool that made life more affordable. Another pressure valve that kept costs down is gone, and nobody in Washington seems to have a real plan to bring back genuine competition in the skies. Spirit Airlines lasted 34 years. They changed how America flies. They made it possible for regular people to see more of their own country and the world without going broke. Now they're gone. This shutdown is bigger than one airline. It's a warning sign about what happens when costs rise, competition disappears, and working families get squeezed from every direction. If this video gave you the straight talk the mainstream media isn't giving, share it right now, because millions of Americans are feeling this pain and they need to see the full picture. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Were you planning to fly Spirit this summer? Did you lose a job or a cheap ticket because of this? I read every comment. Hit like if you want more no-nonsense coverage on stories that actually hit your wallet. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next for the American economy. I'll see you in the next one. God bless America.